Shalom, Kol Haloi Hawabashim Abishai by Hashem Bakar. Double honors unto the apostles and the elders. Salutations to all my fellow laborers doing this work in truth and sincerity, risking their lives and their freedom to do so. To the scattered elect that are scattered among the heathen around the four corners of the earth. To the Akwaf that are listening and learning. To you, I say Shalom. This is going to be a quick but precise lesson. And just thought about it. I probably need to grab this book that's behind me, so I will. And as you can see, this is a video that was done. I don't know if it was put up today or yesterday by the Apostle Tahar, the head of GMS, which is the church of Yahweh Bashin Shai. And oh, by the way, this is your brother Malcolm from the branch of GMS here in Chicago. And this was an article in CNN. There was a lot of condemning evidence that's presented in here, because the Igbo are not they're not converts. They're making a claim that they're descendants of. And matter of fact, it pretty much says that in the article. Nevertheless, I'm going to read an insert from Rudolph R. Windsor's book, From Babylon to Timbuktu. All right, From Babylon to Timbuktu. And it says, History of the Ancient Black Races, including the Black Hebrews. Well, we won't even deal with that word right now. But just dark races, because the truth be said, no one is black. People are different shades of brown. And the phone on my camera doesn't do true justice to the images that you're seeing, because through my camera they look a lot darker than what they are. The yarmulke which he is wearing on his head is black, but his skin is brown. He's really, really brown in comparison to it. He's about to the point to where he's way, way lighter than the black hat that's on his head, even though he's a very dark-skinned man. He literally looks like a Hershey's milk chocolate, next to a crayon. You can clearly see the difference. But this is from page 64 in this book, and it reads, And in the year 65 BC, the Roman armies under General Pompey captured Jerusalem. In 70 AD, General Vespasian and his son Titus put an end to the Jewish state with great slaughter. During the period of the military governance of Palestine, many outrages and atrocities were committed against the residue of the people. During the period from which Pompey to Julius, it has been estimated that over 1 million Jews fled into Africa, fleeing from Roman persecution and slavery. The slave markets were full of black Jewish slaves. And this is Deuteronomy 28 and 64. And the Lord shall scatter thee among all people from one end of the earth even until the other. And there thou shalt serve other gods, which neither thou nor their fathers have known, even wood and stone. And this is so true, because the millions, not just 1 million, but millions of Israelites from the tribe of Judah, Benjamin, and Levi fled into West Africa. And this article, as the apostle brought out, they talked about the ones leaving Assyria fleeing into Africa. No, that's not so. They came here to the America, and the relics that were dug up here all through the 16, 17, 1800s, even up until recently, there was a find in Puerto Rico where they found a bunch of different relics that showed the ancient Hebrew, the Phoenician Hebrew, or the Paleo Hebrew, if you will, that was among the Puerto Ricans, so-called. And then the Decalogue stone and all the ancient Hebrew that was all over the Americas. All right, and the fact that you had many anthropologists and things of that nature who studied the natives intensely, lived among them, and they produced all kind of evidences proving that these people were keeping customs from the Far East, which proved beyond a shadow of a doubt that their forefathers had to have been there at one time or another for them to be doing those sort of things. So But as you look on the image as that's on there, you can see that this man, even though he is an Israelite, they're following after the ways of the imposters, of the converts. All right. And yes, there was a conversion. This is a book called History of the Jews, a very old and very expensive book, copyright 1893. Let me show it. All right. Let's let that come into focus. Trying to do this with one hand, Salakia. Hold on. There we go. Copyright 1893 by the Jewish Publication Society of America. And this is by Henrik Gratz. Let's bring it back again. History of the Jews by Henrik Gratz. Volume 2, from the reign of Hyrcanus, 135 BCE to the completion of the Babylonian Talmud, 500 CE. So basically, what happened? I touched the screen.
Shalom, this is GM.
That's the apostle. But proving that the history in the Apocrypha is accurate, when there was a forced conversion of the Idumeans to follow our ways, which was a big mistake. You can find that history in the book of the Maccabees, and you know, and so a lot of those customs are in Judaism today, which came from those converts. All right, and those are the people who refer to themselves as Jewish today. All right, you got to remember these converts even fought side by side, and sometimes with the real Israelites, and that's how Herod got set up. And Herod was of the house of Edom. You know, he's an Idumean. But I'll prove it because, matter of fact, let's grab a scripture real quick. The scripture in the Maccabees. This is Second Maccabees, the 4th chapter. And I'm going to read verse 10. And it reads, which when the king had granted and he had gotten into his hand the rule, he forthwith brought his own nation to the Greekish fashion. All right. Jump into verse 12. For he built gladly a place of exercise under the tower itself, and brought the chief young men under the subjection and made them wear a hat. See, they covered because the scriptures clearly say covering your crown, you know, that's unholy, that's unrighteous according to the scriptures, man. All right, because when the priest and when the Israelites wore their head wrap, the crown was left open. All right, the top of your head is always exposed. And what do the imposters do? They cover the crown of their head and instead say that the sides of your head is a crown. No, the crown, when a child is being born, what are they doing? They're crowning. As you can see the arrow that I'm pointing to his head, that's the part of the head that comes out first. That's called crowning. That's your crown. All right? They call that when a woman is giving birth and the crown appears. That's why it's called that, not the sides. And so that was the Idumean fashion that was brought in. That is not of the Bible. As a matter of fact, when you read the Bible here in the book of Exodus, this is Exodus 28, and I'm going to read verse 6 and 7. And it says, and thou shalt put a mitre upon his head and put the holy crown upon it. All right. Then thou shalt take the oil and pour it upon his head and anoint him. How are they pouring it upon his head? Because the top is open. You won't pour it all over the crown. You pour it on the crown of his head. The top, that is the part that is open. You know, so a mitre is basically what you see when you see a head wrap. When you see what Ishmael wears when they wrap their head, or the way the Indians wrap their head, Elam, except that their head is completely covered. And why do they do that custom? Because they're also Hebrew. They're also Shemitic. They come from the line of Shem. All right. So that's why they have that custom. Except when the Israelites did it, the crown of their head was left exposed. And this scripture proves it. I'll read it again in verse 7. Exodus 29, not 28, but 29 and 7. I think I may have said 28. It's 29, 6 and 7. But in verse 7 it says, then thou shalt take anointing oil and pour it upon his head and anoint him. So they're pouring it upon you. You anoint the oil is poured on the top, on the crown of your head. Once again, I'll move the arrow around. When the head pops out of the wound, that's the crown, not the sides. They cover it because they mar not their corners. These guys, these imposters got the scriptures all screwed up. They know not the scriptures and they keep not the scriptures, man. All right. So that was just going to be a quick hit. Didn't want to make it too long. Just wanted to bring out that point because when I saw this video, that popped in my head, and I just wanted to lamb back on off the what the apostle had done. So with that, I'm going to give all praises, glory, and honor unto Yahweh, by Hashem Yahushai, by Hashem Rakak Badash, Wa Abba Babal. Shalom.